Do you want to improve at a quicker pace? Check out the GitGud Course. Instead of just understanding concepts, you'll learn how to implement them directly into your driving. What makes it effective is the approach and practical drills. Together, we're gonna focus on breaking down those complex concepts into small digestible bits that are simple to understand. Everything from the course was tested and refined during the years in coaching sessions, so what I ended up with was the ones that I saw were the most effective. Let's elevate your racing skills together. Now for the track guide. Before starting, if you like this video, giving it a like and a subscribe is a free way to support the channel as I can create more content like this. Now going into the track guide itself, for turn 1 the reference for braking is this red fence on the left side around here, or some dirt parts on the track. You will see there's a bit of shades of dirt in front of the car. Past those shades I'm applying the brakes, so I'm braking slightly past them, but you can also use them as braking exactly on them. That can work as well. Also this red fence here, but generally I'm preferring more having a reference in front of the car because I can focus more on looking on the right side at the apex, because otherwise you will look on the left side and then to switch your view over the apex, so it might not be ideal. In terms of approaching the corner, you want a late apex and you want to get close to this wall, so notice that at this point I'm still on the brakes, so still trailing in first gear, still on the brakes, because as I hit this compression and as I hit this green part of the curb very closely to the wall, then this is the point where I smash the throttle and I go very aggressively initially up until I reach around 50-60%. When I'm going upwards, you have to modulate a bit. You see now the shape starts to be a bit less aggressive because you lose grip once you go off the compression zone. So the grip levels, initially you have a lot of grip under braking, then as you go to the corner you have more and more grip, you reach the apex, a lot of grip, but then when you go a bit upwards, then you lose the grip. So you have to modulate this, and when the car and when the track is straight again, then you're gonna be at 100% throttle, use all this space. And now this is gonna be just a straight line, so we can skip all the way to the comb. Now for this corner, my reference for braking will be the middle of this curb. So I want to brake, you can see this red marker around here on the left side. At the red marker, I'm applying the brakes. I'm going in fourth gear and I try to generate a lot of rotation on entry by being aggressive on the initial spike of the brakes to put a lot of weight on the front tires so the car will be loose on the rear end. Then I want to mount this curb all the way, and the moment that I'm touching the curb, I'm smashing the throttle. I'm trying to reach 100% throttle in between this corner and the next one, the one in front of me. This is key, hitting 100% throttle, a blimp of 100. Then I'm gonna drop it as I mount this curb and quickly get it back up. And I think this is not ideal, obviously, but I think it's better to put yourself on a worse line and carry more speed rather than having a perfect line but you going super slow. So you will see a lot of drivers that have, quote, bad lines, but they're a lot quicker. The reason behind it is they're carrying a lot more speed. So I was carrying a lot of speed into this, but definitely not ideal. Definitely not ideal. You want to be more towards the center of the track, not all the ways right. So then you can bring the car more towards the left, so you can take this corner with a smaller lift. That's gonna be the idea, to take this corner flat. Now going into the downhill part, I will brake slightly past the curb. So when the curb begins, I'm still going straight, and after a while, just after 1 second or so, I'm applying the brakes and I go diagonally towards this corner. I'm gonna go to second gear, I keep a tight line around here, and then I'm putting the throttle like this. Keeping it a tight line with the Formula cars will work a little bit better, so you don't want to take a very aggressive V-shaped line with this car, just because you have a lot of downforce. If you have, let's say, the Porsche Cup car, then you have to push the car deeper so you can treat it more like a double apex corner, V-shaped line, but you will go more like a U-shaped line in this corner with a Formula car because you have a lot more downforce, especially with this car. With F3, you can take a V-shaped line, but I found that with this car, a lot quicker to stay tighter. Now for this corner, I'm just kissing this curb before turning in, and as I turn in, I turn with 100% throttle. I'm barely touching the brakes, as you can see, 7%, and then smashing this curb and going back on throttle like this, using all the curb. And you see here this hesitation on throttle, not ideal. I took too much curb on entry. So you have to take just a bit less here. You have to kiss the red curb, but not this part around here, because this is gonna be too much. It will make the cars bounce forward and you will lose like 0.05. So keep that in mind, as you can see in the delta. Now going into the high-speed left-hander, my reference for turning into the corner and just barely dropping the throttle and braking will be the lights around here, the traffic lights. I'm gonna turn at 100% throttle initially, doing the lift, adding like 1% brake, and then picking the throttle back on, using all the track and focusing on using the least amount of steering angle. Now the next corner can be tricky. Braking point at the beginning of the curve. Don't brake very hard. You really want to trail the brakes late into the corner, so you want to push the car with a lot of speed. You don't want to kill the speed early into the corner like right now, because otherwise you will be forced to go on throttle. You will go too early on throttle and you will understeer in the next corner. So you have to be on the brakes up until here. And here you're gonna smash the throttle 100%, keeping it 100% while you're still turning, cutting this curve like this and just barely correcting with the throttle, using all this curve here. And for the next corner, make sure you use this dirt band on the left side, super important to open up. At the beginning of the curve, you're gonna brake and downshift to fourth, cut this curve, and immediately where you touch it, you're gonna push the throttle like that, because it's super important to be early on throttle into this corner. And now just a big straight up until the bus stop chicane. The bus stop chicane can be tricky. So the first thing that I'm doing here, I'm going diagonally towards the bus stop chicane. Like right now, I'm not going all the way to the left, I'm going diagonally towards it. It will shorten your distance into the corner, so going diagonally, braking whenever I'm close to the curb in front of me. So if you will brake at the curb, it's gonna be too late. I'm just judging it by looking at it. Applying the brakes. While you brake, make sure you brake and you go in a straight line. Because you're coming diagonally, you will use this curve on the left to open up the corner. Hold the brakes as much as you can, so don't drop them quickly, and go to first gear, apex around this curve, bring the car all the way to the right, at least as much as you can, push the throttle, and then whenever you're going into second gear, just drop the throttle to get the front end pointing so you can apex around here, immediately get back on throttle. And in short, that's a lap around Spa with the Super Formula lights in VRS conditions with the open setup. The setup that I'm using is Jespers setups. So again, thanks for watching, thanks for sticking around. If you want to improve at a quicker pace, check out the GitGud Racing course, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye!